Hey, it's Murph here, and I have some very interesting facts to drop for you today. And I know we all love a good story, but sometimes truth is stranger than fiction, especially when it comes to elections. We're talking riots, cheese feasts, and even mules braving flash floods. All in the name of democracy. So buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into the wacky, wild world of elections with our top 7 crazy but true election stories. Let's check them out. All right, let's kick things off in 1857, New York City. Imagine, if you will, a time before social media, because instead of arguing about politics online, people just duked it out in the streets. Enter the dead rabbits. No, not cute, fluffy bunnies. We're talking a notorious gang that pretty much ran the Five Points neighborhood. In the election of 1857, they decided to make their voices heard through violence, clashing with their rivals, the Bowery Boys, in a massive brawl known as the Dead Rabbits Riot. It was a full-blown riot, with clubs, knives, even guns drawn. The National Guard had to be called in to restore order. Okay, after that last story, we need something a little lighter. Let's fast forward to 1837 and visit Andrew Jackson, our 7th president. Jackson was known for being a tough, no-nonsense kind of guy, but he was also a man of the people, and apparently a big fan of cheese. When he received a 1,400-pound wheel of cheddar as a gift, he decided to share it with the entire nation. As Jackson's presidency was winding down, he held a massive open house, inviting the public to help him polish off this monstrous cheese wheel. It was a brilliant political move, showing him as a man of the people. Okay, back to some serious business. The election of 1876 between Rutherford B. Hayes and Samuel J. Tilden was a nail-biter. The stakes were high, the nation was still reeling from the Civil War, and Reconstruction was hanging by a thread. Tilden, a Democrat, seemed poised to win, securing the popular vote by a decent margin. But then things got really messy. 20 electoral votes across 4 states, South Carolina, Florida, Louisiana, and Oregon, were disputed. We're talking accusations of voter intimidation, outright fraud, even violence at the polls. To resolve this chaos, Congress formed a special 15-member commission. In the end, the commission awarded the presidency to Hayes, but not without striking a deal. This deal, known as the Compromise of 1877, essentially traded political power for the end of Reconstruction. Federal troops were withdrawn from the South, effectively ending federal efforts to protect the rights of formerly enslaved people. The election of 1876 remains one of the most contested and controversial in U.S. history. Hold on to your Stetsons, folks, because we're heading out west for this one. In 1912, Arizona was vying for statehood, and its fate rested on, you guessed it, an election. But this wasn't your average trip to the ballot box. Arizona in 1912 was still pretty wild. We're talking vast stretches of desert, limited roads, and transportation that was, well, let's just say it involved a lot of horsepower. To get those precious ballots from remote communities to the county seat, election officials relied on mules. Flash floods, a common occurrence in the desert, washed out roads, and swept away several ballot boxes. Despite the lost ballots, enough votes were counted to secure Arizona's statehood. So, the next time you complain about having to stand in line to vote, just remember those brave Arizonans. It puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Let's be honest, folks. Politics and scandal often go together like peanut butter and jelly. And few stories illustrate this better than the tale of Lyndon B. Johnson. Yes, that LBJ, and a certain ballot box in 1948. Johnson, a young, ambitious congressman at the time, was locked in a tight Senate race against former Texas Governor Coke Stevenson. It was a down-to-the-wire fight, with every vote counting. As the results trickled in, Stevenson held a slim lead. But then, 6 days after the election, a miracle occurred. Or at least that's what it seemed like for Johnson. In Jim Wells County, a precinct known as Box 13, 202 new votes magically appeared. And guess what? Every single one of them was for Johnson. These weren't just any votes either. They were all cast in the same handwriting in alphabetical order, and conveniently gave Johnson the exact number he needed to win by a hair. While Johnson denied any wrongdoing, the whole thing left a serious stain on his reputation, earning him the nickname Landslide Lyndon. The 1948 Senate race serves as a stark reminder that in politics, winning isn't everything, especially if it means compromising your integrity. All right, folks, let's take a quick trip up north to Boston, a city known for its history, its clam chowder, and its colorful political figures. And few were more colorful than James Michael Curley, a man who took the phrase winning at all costs to a whole new level. Curley was a classic Irish-American politician, charming, charismatic, and as crooked as a barrel of fish hooks. In 1919, Curley pulled off a stunt that could only be described as audacious. He actually campaigned for a seat on the city council while serving a prison sentence. Convicted of impersonating someone else to help them pass a civil service exam, Curley campaigned from his jail cell. And guess what? He won. He went on to serve as mayor of Boston 4 times, even doing a stint in federal prison for mail fraud while in office. Curley's story is a testament to the fact that sometimes voters are willing to overlook a little bit of corruption, or a lot, in Curley's case. All right, let's wrap things up with a story about secrets, lies, and, well, more lies. It's the 1968 presidential election, and the Vietnam War is raging. Enter Richard Nixon, promising peace with a plan so cunning, so brilliant, he couldn't possibly reveal it to the American people. Nixon's secret plan to end the war became a cornerstone of his campaign. It was vague, it was mysterious, and it tapped into the deep desire of many Americans to just get the heck out of Vietnam. The problem? There wasn't really a plan. Nixon's promise was more of a campaign tactic than a genuine policy proposal. But it worked. Nixon won the election, and the secret plan became a symbol of the power of empty promises in politics. The 1968 election reminds us that in the world of politics, perception is often more important than reality. So there you have it, folks. 7 crazy true election stories that prove truth really is stranger than fiction. From cheese-loving presidents to ballot-eating floods, these tales remind us that democracy is messy, unpredictable, and sometimes downright bizarre. If you enjoyed this wild ride through electoral history, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more fascinating content, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep those ballots coming.